Let's bring in CNN correspondent Tom Foreman from our virtual room. Tom, such a tragic story, and there are still so many unanswered questions surrounding this crash. Tell us what we do know at this hour.
Here's what we do know right now. Look at what happened. This was a plane that took off at 11:09 in the evening from Charles de Gaulle Airport. It was supposed to be about a 4-hour flight, simple enough, over here to Cairo. At 1:24, it went into Greek airspace, and at 1:48, a Greek air traffic controller spoke to the pilot and said he sounded cheerful, like everything was fine. About 40 minutes later, as it passed into Egyptian airspace, they could not raise the plane anymore, and then we had these reports of these erratic movements by the plane as it disappeared from radar. The official you just spoke to, Jake, talked about the idea of all the information we can, gathering that. He said that very casually, but it is a tremendous amount of information they have to look at. First of all, they have to review with this plane exactly what you were asking him about. Where was it on the ground over the past several days? Who had access to it? Did anybody find a way to circumvent all those security measures if, in fact, this was what happened, if it was some sort of attack on the plane? Then they have to look inside the plane as well. They have to look at the people who were on board. He mentioned the crew they have there. We've got a cockpit crew, of course, 2 people up there. You have 5 people working the cabin back here. You have 3 security officers. And then you have 56 passengers. We don't know where they were inside the plane, but we're putting them here so you have an idea of how many people are on board. Every one of these, you have to find out who they knew, who they talked to, how they got to the airport, what they were carrying, who they spoke to while they were there, to make sure that there was no breach anywhere in the system or that nobody had a reason to do anything unusual. And then you have to look at the aircraft itself if you can find some of the wreckage. You have to get down here to the Mediterranean Ocean, which, by the way, is about a mile deep on average, so it could be difficult to find things if they get below the surface there. But you have to look at the remains of what you find if this plane, in fact, crashed. Obviously, the flight data recorder, obviously the voice recorder, but then you have to look at the plane. Do you see problems where the engines had something go wrong with them, or the tail, or do you see spalling from some kind of an explosion? The bottom line is it was traveling about 560 miles an hour, and it went down somehow. Many, many clues to look at before they know why. Jake?